They told me for years there was no money in podcasting. Well, they were all wrong. How have you pivoted with the pandemic? Like, because school wasn't in person all of last year.
Yeah.
The kids missed a full year of remote learning. So how'd that affect you, your talks, your education? And then we'll get into how it affected the kids. But I want to speak specifically of what you do, how that affected you.
Yeah, man. When that happened, it was crazy, man. I totally shifted the platform. I learned how to go, because you're doing so much in school, I learned how to go virtual. And before I picked up the StreamYard, I would go like Skype, right? And so I had this Skype. And so I said, how can I get this out? And what I did was I set up a digital learning, what do you call those things, man? My YouTube thumbnails.
Thumbnails, okay.
Yeah, so I set up these thumbnails for digital technology, and I reached out to educators all around the country, man. And I instead of doing my regular podcast, I will only interview them. What is your school doing? How have you all shifted? What kind of resources do you need? And so that's one thing I did. And man, I was able to hook up some people that were at the South Texas with the Houston Community Library, and they were able to ship that school resources just from watching the podcast, right? So that's one way I pivoted, man, but really I was doing in-person interviews, but the virtual interviews have got me all the way to Ireland connecting with different people, man. So this is it, man.
You found a little sunshine in there somewhere, a positive spin on it. That's good. So how did the kids react last year, 2020, from remote learning?
Yeah.
Because, well, first of all, do all of your students even have access to internet?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's a plus, because not all kids in the United States even do, and people don't even realize that.
Well, we did. We had to do like drives, right? So that was one of the things that happened at the beginning. Nobody anticipated it. So before we were prepared at school, they didn't have access. So then what happened was we understood what was going on. The district chipped in, but as a school, we bought all these Chromebooks, we bought all these hotspots. And so then I would literally have teachers going on to like a Google Doc to sign up, to come up and pick up these things, and set up to the school and technology stations to set up iPads for kids. So we made it happen. But before that, it was rough. Yeah, man.
So the kids happy to be back in school? Because you're in. Okay, talk to me. What's the schooling situation like now? In person, masks, no masks, vaccine, no vaccine. What's the deal down there in Houston, Texas?
Man, last year was crazy. 2020 teachers were doing hybrid. So they were teaching a group of online kids while kids were sitting in the classroom. This year, no hybrid, no virtual. We're all in person, no mask mandate through the state of Texas. So mask is optional, but most of the teachers did get the vaccine though. So, man, we're just rolling. Cases had got a little crazy on us at the beginning of the school year. Dude, when I tell you crazy, say, man, it was crazy.
Crazy.
Yes, look, man, if you get one case, man, you gotta contact trace. So you got to track down every place they were in. You got to send a notification out to the family, notification out to the teacher. You got to find out when they come back, who all got a quarantine. It's been crazy, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has to be crazy because I personally think in-person schooling, especially after a year of remote, is so important, specifically to the kids you work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pandemic's bad. It was bad. It was bad for a lot of people. It's still bad for a lot of people. But in-person schooling is so important for a social aspect. Like I just met my cousin, my baby. So my cousin had 2 kids during the pandemic. She was pregnant in 2019, gave birth March 2020. Second one was born, I think this 3 months ago. So I just met them. Like 2 weeks ago. Now, this baby was 18 months old and had never been around more than 5 people.
Yeah, man.
Now, who knows? I'm not a doctor. I have no idea what kind of impact that has on a child. But I'm assuming it's not good.
Dude, I've been struggling. Behavior has been rough, but it's simply the kids who were, a lot of the kids who were virtual online last year, man, the acclamation has been just, they're like, man, the kids who were there in person last year kind of got a head start on them.
Yeah.
And so then you're thinking about the behavioral problems, dude. It's been real, man.
Like, you're an educator. You work with kids every day. Do you see a stark difference between the kids from like say 2019?
Yeah.
Up until 2021. Do you see like a black and white difference of just how different it is for these kids? Like, and how much extra work is it going to take to make sure they're caught back up with everyone else? Yeah,
man. Look, with the behaviors, the biggest thing I'm seeing in an elementary is just now the parental attachment, right? You know, you're thinking about just being with their parent. Some kids, you know, think about, I'm doing kindergarten. So this kid has now skipped pre-K age because they didn't come. So kindergarten is their first time in school ever.
Oh, that's bad.
And so that's been a lot of kids, man.
Yeah.
So you think about your 4-year-olds, they cry at the beginning of the year, but now it's kinders who are crying. Or you think about a lot of the kids who were virtual last year, dude, they come in like sad that they have to be there. It's been crazy, man. But as far as catching them up, right now we're kind of looking at chunking like a year at a time. Like, how can we just catch them up to add in things from last year to this year? Because a lot of the kids are able to kind of pick up both pieces at the same time, but some of them, it got to be intense, man, where we just singling out what we're going to teach you at different times of the day. Because a lot of them who, especially the kids who stayed virtual last year, the gaps are real, man. It's real.
It's not like you and me. Like, we can work from home. We can adjust, right? We're adults. We're used to adjustments. But, you know, and kids can be very useful to adjustments too. But something like that, I can't even imagine. I do not envy you. I do not envy teachers, but I am very glad your kids are back in school.
Yes.
And I'm glad you're taking the proper precautions. Because, you know, up here in New Jersey, New York,